I'm taking a look at a memorial leaf that was placed on these trees. They were planted 1 year ago, Valentine's Day, in memory of the many who passed away in the early days of the AIDS epidemic in Jacksonville that for the most part went unrecognized. His name is Ron Saruga, and he is one of many who are attached to these trees. 3 of them planted as the very beginning of a memorial garden for Willowbranch Park on Park Street. It was the site of the very first gay pride picnic. We weren't allowed to have a parade, so we were allowed to have a picnic, and 200 brave souls showed up to be surrounded by angry people in trucks and cars and have to be protected by police. So this seems a meaningful connection with the community. The adjacent and surrounding homes appreciate this space. And I think that we have come so far in Jacksonville in the last 30 years, 40 years. It also seems to be a symbol of that as well. I am crossing over the creek that runs through and makes its way all the way to the St. Johns River. The city has a plan to rebuild the banks of this creek, hopefully in a bioswale fashion, so that it can return to the stream that it might have been 150 years ago and prior to the subdivisions of the neighborhoods surrounding it. These are some beautiful live oaks that came in, and they were clustered together to create a canopy or a hammock. Probably had some live oak hammock running through these hills. They were also harvested though for the hulls of ships and for the oak that they provided. There were so many sawmills up and down the St. Johns River, but it wouldn't have surprised me that there would have been live oaks a bit midway down the ridge toward the water. But it is now a canopy mixed with hickories, sweet gum, magnolia, and maple. A lot of the wetland species and those that can grow on a ridge that makes its way down to a stream. And then the loblolly pines are probably original and are in pretty good shape. There's one that's been struck by lightning, but a lot of them house wildlife, and so the neighborhood and the city aren't anxious to take them down unless they pose a threat. The plan, phase 1, is the planting of 21 memorial trees up along the ridge, which separates the play area from the creek. We were asked to stay 50 feet away from the creek because of its reconstruction, and then that will lead to a future plan called Love Grove, which is the heart of the memorial along the spot where the picnic actually took place. These are beautiful vitex trees. They start out as shrubs, and then you just take your time and you go down in and you trim them out and turn them into trees, almost like a patio form. The beauty of them, though, is not only in their blue blossoms in the summer. Some people call them a southern lilac or a blue crepe myrtle, but in the tone and the smell of the foliage and the stems. It smells like menthol. It's very pleasant. They were placed here as part of the memorial with flowering trees. They bloom in the summer as well, and they're actually a healthier plant than most crepe myrtles are. There are no disease or insect problems, and they don't give in to the humidity as well. But this was a part of the park that was at one time used for Shakespeare presentations throughout the community. And this is also the place where we begin flowering trees to carry over under the canopy along Park Street that can be seen from the street by everybody driving by. The way the topography is very cool. You can stand here and see all the different levels and changes and what it was before it was a park. It was no doubt a much wider stream, probably lined with huge cypress trees that made its way down to the river. And it originates all the way back near US 17, close to McDuff Avenue, from a very small, low wetland. There's a plan also to put a beautiful mosaic art piece on the bridge in same memorial. And that's being designed by a local artist. Wow, These are beautiful red maples. It is maple red flame. We chose this area to create a shade canopy that was adjacent to the playfield. All of the shade trees have come out due to various storms, and there is a retention pond behind us that might have removed some of the original canopy. So this is a very hot area. So the choice of the red maple was to come up with a safe, clear trunk for security along the play area so that you could always see someone standing here, but to provide an umbrella of shade that the kids can come off and gather here and not have to be under cover. And it also provides a pop of fall color. These are winged elm, Ulmus alata, and the wings come off of the stem like this, not on every one of them, but the older the tree gets, the larger the wings become. It was placed here as a back up curve for lower shade for the kids playing and for the couples sitting, as the sun can come through this higher canopy and there's not enough protection for such a comfortable area. Thanks. Hey guys. So these are planted to also give kids a spot to step off and not have to crowd underneath the shade structure to get out of the sun. They're a native tree, they grow quickly, and they're not messy. The leaf is probably smaller than a river birch leaf and tend to disappear like that. Fast grower, good tree, no diseases. You can look from this point on top of the bridge going across Willowbranch Creek. Every tree that's going in, this is probably 20 feet above the lowest point, and then the land creeps back up probably another 10 or 15 to the peak, which is right up along the play fields. But this is what we also wanted to do, was to present to people who were walking and driving by a view into the park to all the different trees. The area here to the right is phase 3, which will be done by the city through their mitigation plan, and it will be all flowering native trees, including more of the vitex, some beautiful fringe tree, and native hog plum, which are early spring bloomers. So what you see before us here will become a valley of color, hopefully within the next year.